안녕하세요. 4강 북한의 첨단 기술 상품 소개 및 해외 전시 추진
Hello, everyone.
행사 진행을 맡은 세트협의회 청년위원장
My name is
지가스입니다.
Jiga, Chairperson of the Youth Committee of the Seattle chapter of Newark. I'm going to be your moderator for today's event.
이번 행사를 위해 귀중한 시간을 내어
Thank you, everyone
모든 분들
who
환영하고
joins
인사드립니다.
this virtual meeting.
간단한 기술 안내드리겠습니다.
Welcome, everyone. I'm going to give you some technical announcements. Please rename yourself with your name and where you are tuning in.
진행되고 있습니다.
And if you want English interpretation, you can just hit the global box and you can pick your language.
오늘은 북한, 북핵, 북한 경제 바로
Today,
알기 사회 연속 강연 중에서
this is the first lecture of the series lectures of understanding of North Korea focused on its nuclear issues and economy. So today, it will be introducing high-tech products of North Korea. After the speech, there will be a Q&A session and discussions.
지금부터 북한, 북핵, 북한 경제 바로
now I announce the opening of today's lecture. This is about proposal for cooperation project through exchange of scientific technology.
잠시 소개드렸는데요.
I already gave you a brief direction how to pick your language for the interpretation. You can just click the globe box and you can choose your language for English. So the order of the event is that we are going to have the national ceremony and then welcoming remarks, speech, Q&A, and discussions.
국민의례가 있겠습니다. 참여하신
So we will do salute the flag. Because it is a virtual meeting, you can either stand up or sit down for this ceremony. Saluting the national flag.
나는 자랑스러운 태극기 앞에 자유롭고 정의로운 대한민국의 무궁한 영광을 위하여 충성을 다할 것을 굳게 다짐합니다.
다음은 애국가를 제청하겠습니다.
Now we will sing the national anthem together. Next, we will pay silent tribute to all those who sacrificed themselves for the country.
국회에 대하여
다음은 민주평화통일
Now
자문회의
we will have the welcoming remarks
김성훈 회장님 모시고
from Chairperson Kim Sung-hoon of the Seattle chapter of Newark. The floor is yours. Hello, my name is Kim Sung-hoon. I am the chairperson of the Seattle chapter. So this is finally the last lecture of our series of lecture of Understanding North Korea. So today, Dr. Kang will discuss about proposal for cooperation project through exchange of scientific technology.
에 대한 새로운 정보를 많이
The last
얻었었습니다.
three lectures provided a lot of information, new information about North Korea's scientific technology level. It is very, I'm sorry that we didn't have a chance to have in-person meeting, but thanks to this virtual
한국에 계신 위원님
format, it was possible to allow all of those from across the world to join this event. I hope in the near future, we will have a chance to directly invite Dr. Kang to Seattle. Thank you.
이번 행사 준비하면서 1월부터 저희
So
든든하게
since January,
협의회 회장님 정말 감사드립니다.
Chairperson Kim Sung-hoon has provided the full support to this event. I'm going to express gratitude to all those who provided support,
또 시애틀 협의회 박성계 위원님,
including technology assistants, interpretation, and all of those people. Thank you on behalf of all the audiences.
박사님에게 제가 넘기도록 하겠습니다.
Now the mic is yours, Dr. Kang.
네, 반갑습니다. 오늘도 많이
Hello.
모이셨네요.
Hello, everyone. I see so many of you joining me. So for the last 4 months,
이해 안 되는 북한 같이 이해하려는
we have successfully
그래도
went through difficult lectures of the science, technology, and the Korean economy.
새로운 가능성으로 다가갔을 것 같습니다.
Despite the COVID-19 pandemic,
다음번을 더 기획하시겠다라는
it was good to have all of you joining this virtual event.
오늘 강의하고요.
And as Chairperson Kim Sung-hoon said, maybe next time we will have a chance to meet in person in Seattle. So today's lecture is relatively shorter than my previous lectures, so that we can have more time for discussions and free debate. And I hope we have like 3 or 4 people joining from the audience. So I'm going to give you a lecture for 30 to 40 minutes, and then there have been some proposals from the audience who want to share their opinions. So we are going to share these discussions together with you. And as a formal closing of this lecture, like learning, I'm going to give you a suggestion, like a practical suggestion. That is what we can do based on the learning. So we shouldn't expect somebody else to do something for you, but we have to work ourselves. So that is why I prepared this lecture, especially for today. So let me go back to the title. So the title is like a proposal for cooperation through exchange of scientific technology. So scientific technology, it is not far from our daily lives. It is in our lives. And as I emphasized many times, the theme of scientific technology should be included as an agenda of inter-Korean discussions. So, based on the learnings, I'm going to explore what we can do to promote peace on the Korean Peninsula. So this is a brief explanation, background about my academic history. So I studied math and science and scientific history of North Korea. And so I had my doctor's thesis about North Korean history. And now I'm teaching at the Free University of Berlin, and I have one student studying under me. And I'm also operating an institute for STENC, Science, Technology, and Economy of North Korea. This is a kind of like a non-profit organization. It doesn't receive any funding from the government. And actually, I thought that I would work based on my position as a director of this institute, and then suddenly I got a job at the University of Berlin. But like all those proposals, discussions, actually based on my capacity as the director of the institute. And this is a book that I published in the past. I am planning to have 5 volumes, the series of the book. And also another book I wrote, it is, the title is Understanding North Korea Through its Scientific Technology. I have 50 books remaining in my storage. So anyone based in Europe, then I can deliver this book to you. I'm sorry that I cannot deliver this book to anyone outside of Europe due to the cost. So this book was written like 10 years ago, but still I think it is pretty much updated. So this is my future vision for the Korean Peninsula. So I think cooperation with scientific technology will brighten the future of the Korean Peninsula. So we are talking about scientific technology separately, and we are talking about future, and we are promoting unification. But anyway, so our future should be connected to unification. Like the younger generation have some negative ideas about unification as because they think unification may give a lot of burden to them. But the younger generation, they are not disagreeing with the necessity for unification. So we can connect those dots. So we see that there is a gap between scientific technology and North Korea. So there are only 2 people studying this issue. So there was another Dr. Degree scholar who studied this one before me, and I am the second. So there are only 2 people. Anyway, so thanks to the German government, I can continue this study. So we have these 4 pillars to build on for the future vision of the Korean Peninsula. And there have been dramatic changes since the 8th Congress of the North Korean Workers' Party. And at the Congress, North Korea highlighted the importance of scientific technology. So they announced that the Workers' Committee is dedicated to promoting scientific technology project one of them, one of the those like workers' parties dedicated project was forestation, and they have established the like 10-year plan for forestation. So no one actually focused or had interest into the project, but um, actually North Korea made great success in terms of forestation. And the second project promoted by the Workers' Party is education. So like all officials at all the level of the Workers' Party have contributed to the promotion of education. And this year, North Korea actually named the year 2021 as a year to build on science. So they expected it to have a breakthrough of its 5-year plan based on the power of scientific technology. So without scientific technology, there is no achievement in terms of the Workers' Committee's project, Workers' Party's project. That is the basic understanding of the Workers' Party in DPRK. So if you want to show your loyalty to the Workers' Party, then you have to achieve something in scientific technology that is the like saying in the Workers' Party. So the spirit is self-independence, self-revival, and the weapons for this goal is scientific technology. This is the slogan the Workers' Party is promoting. And this slogan clearly demonstrates what North Korea is intending to do in the future. So it has been reported repeatedly in North Korean media. So I'm going to give you some foundational information. So there is innovation system, the norm of innovation system. So this term was actually used more in the political terms. Excuse me? Sorry. So I'm going to continue. So these days, in terms of economy or management, we are talking a lot about innovation system. So like innovation system in production, and because people are actually working on production, that's why we needed to invest in education. And for that, we needed to build advanced research. So these three dots should be connected strongly, only then innovation can be achieved. That is the general understanding. And if I have to add one more factor, that is a policy. Because there is limitations in resources, there should be a policy to allocate more resources in the priorities of these three priorities. So I think that these four pillars are essential to achieve innovation system or strengthen technological innovation system so that all people can more easily enjoy the products of the innovation. So you can place a priority into either production, education, or research or policy. So when we talk about semiconductor products, technology, that is like more focused on production. And if we turn to research, then it is about like a free spirit, like encouraging encourage like a free idea sharing, like a brainstorming, and these things can be a basis for innovation. And what North Korea chose, it was production. So in the DPRK, the high officials should not stay inside a lab. They should go into the field. So that's why they often use the term of field direction, like field teaching, field visit. But in China, it's more focus is on theory or like primary science. But in North Korea, all the focus is on production, like workers centered. So there's a high tendency toward the production site or the field that decides the general trend of North Korea's policy in scientific technology. So they are talking about industrial revolution in the new century and educational revolution in the new century. So these terms are often used by North Korea. So I had like another lecture series in another arena, and it discussed the content or changes in the content of North Korea's textbooks. So in September 2012, North Korea made a dramatic reform in its textbook. So North Korea placed like more focus on science, math, and technology. So that is the main point of educational revolution in the new century in North Korea. So what I am suggesting is that maybe we can promote an incubator, like a startups, venture. It's because for research field, there should be like scientists and technicians. There are only a handful of people who can do contributions to research aspects. But even me, like any ordinary people can do something to contribute to the production as a venture or a startup. And we can also do a lot more things in terms of education. So instead of investing into research where only a handful of people can contribute, we would better invest more in education and production. So I actually created a program, Unit Tips. It is called the Unit Tips. It is about unification related technology, startup promotion system, something like that. And we have like some great programs created during the Park Geun-hye administration is like a unification tech incubator program for startup. So that's why it is called the TIPS. Around 2015, South Korea imported the norm of tech incubator program for startup from Israel. So in 2017, Korea, South Korea enacted the Support for Small and Medium Enterprises Establishment Act. So that's why it is called Accelerators Act. And those
해본 사람들은 아이디어가
who
고급지고
have great
새로운 아이디어가 나타나면
ideas
또 하나의 벤처를
about
만들어내는 거고
innovation,
정부는
scientific
5%까지 수밖에
technology,
없는 창업자들한테 바로
then
지원하는 것으로
you
멘토까지 붙여서
can
지원해 주니까 성공률이 50%까지 올라가는 거예요.
have support from the
그걸
government side.
나름대로 채용을 해서 액셀러레이터 프로그램을
And
아예
with
만들어내는
the
거예요.
support,
여기서는 철저하게
the percentage of success could be significantly increased from like
그래서
5%
통일 중심으로 넘어가면
before the
국내에서는
enactment.
할 곳이 없어요. 통일 쪽으로 넘어가면
However,
지원도 못 받아요.
like any startups in like working in the field of unification, there is not much support from the government.
남북 교류협력으로 넘어가면 자금은 어마어마하게 조 단위로 모여 있습니다. 근데 이걸 적극적으로 쓸 수가 없는 거죠. 근데 여기는
And there
북한
is
건 노타치
the Inter-Korean Exchange and Cooperation Act, but
노타치를 해버리니까 서로 칸막이 때문에 섞이질 못합니다.
the Ministry of Unification has absolute control of the funding under this act, and there is not much room for this funding to go to scientific technology startups. So I was suggesting that like, we have to connect these two acts and support the system under these two acts. So that's why I'm suggesting a new model for inter-Korean exchange and cooperation. That is like in South Korea,
동아리라고 들었습니다. 창업가들을 모아요. 근데 이 사람들 혼자 놔둬가지고는
we can cultivate unification accelerators
전문가 멘토단이 붙습니다. 그게 하나 더.
among the startups, experts, and researchers.
그래서 가장 늦은 통일이
Because we are dealing with North Korea, we may use a different language in terms of scientific technology. So that's why we need researchers in interpreting North Korea's logics, its language, and integrate it into South Korea's system. When it comes to North Korea, the biggest obstacle is sanctions. However, patent and innovation discovery, they are exempted from the sanctions. So it gives the room to go beyond the sanctions. And what is more important here is smart scientists and technicians. There are already capital available. What we need is people who can actually use the money. So international investors ask if North Korea has these scientists and technicians. And the answer is yes, North Korea has a lot of smart scientists and technicians, and they also have high-tech products. So both governments, the governments of North Korea and South Korea can provide support to connect the dots between these two countries. So like in South Korea, like unification accelerator, and North Korea scientific technology, if we connect these two dots, then we can open the world market. So for example, I was offered a position to create a startup project that was 100% based on the scientific technology of North Korea. So I already did market research, and a patent attorney confirmed that it is possible to get the patent on the technology. But I gave up the project. That's why I was scolded by my wife. But anyway, So let's see the project that I was thinking at the time. There was like a home system, smart home system, based on air cleaner.
공기청정기 뭐 혹은
So
이런 공조 시스템을 돌리는
previous
그런
system
하고 있죠.
is
근데 이거를
operated
미국이
based on a
그래야
speaker.
문화적인 게 있는데 동아시아로 오면 뭐가 되냐면
It's more like a Western style.
삶의 질이 확 떨어집니다.
But
2015년, 16년 즈음에
in
확 커지고요.
Asia,
미세먼지가 확
we
커집니다.
have more focus on the
상태가
clean air
베이징은
conditions.
오래전부터 그랬고요.
Like we
베이징은
already
오래전부터
experienced the MERS
그러면서
pandemic
화력 발전이 확
and like all these pollutions, and we have like this fine dust problems. So we think clean air is one of the most important thing for upgrading your living quality. So like in South Korea, all family have a, an, a, an air cleaner. So if we just integrate like a facial recognition, artificial intelligence, and voice recognition, AI. So like if you just like have your face in front of the screen on the door, and the AI will recognize you. So we already have voice recognition AI and text recognition AI in the operational level, but facial recognition is a little bit lagging behind, but North Korea has advanced technology in facial recognition also. So there is like a paper engineering institute at the National Science Academy, and it is creating a medical filter to filter out any germs. So we can have like a very high-tech advanced filter based on North Korea's technology. And North Korea also has the world-class facial recognition AI technology, and voice recognition and text recognition. They are already in use in many countries. For example, like a refrigerator. Like if you put new things and new products into your refrigerator, the refrigerator will recognize the text on the package and will make a list of what's inside in a refrigerator, and it can also show you the expiration dates and even suggest some recipes with the things stored in a refrigerator. In North Korea, they announced that they created smart home system 1.0 in 2017, but they are not actually using this technology because
연결 안 하고 그냥 집에 로컬로 돌려도 AI가 작동하는 기술입니다. 한마디로 4865
so like let me correct what I have said. Like usually, in order to use AI system, you have to provide your personal information to the networking system. But in North Korea, you don't have to connect with the outside the network in order to use this smart home system, because you can use radar system So for example, if
하면 이 스마트홈을
an old man
꺾어놓은 방식으로
lives alone in a house
스마트홈 시스템.
and there is like a smart home system that
나온 거죠.
that is able
그래서
to
요거 가지고
catch the
제작하면
move of the
요거
person,
이걸 하나
and if the
제작을
person
했거든요.
suddenly stops moving, then it can send the signal
네.
and you can hear the sound.
소리 볼륨을 약간 줄이셔도 됩니다. 음악만 나올 겁니다.
You can lower the volume because it only has
소리가 없어야 되잖아요.
music.
선풍기 소리가
So
있는데
it should be quiet. The motor should be quiet.
이제 원심 분리기, 우라늄
So in
추출하는
order
그 기술
to do that, I am suggesting that we can use the technology from the centrifuge,
요게 이제 북한에 만든
and
거예요.
there
이게.
should be like multi layers of filters.
헤파 필터보다 강하나요? 잡는 게 헤파 필터?
예, 헤파 필터 기본 다 돼 있고요.
네.
So
요걸
HEPA filter is integrated,
AI
and
툴이죠.
also
가전들을
we can
이제
integrate AI system into this air purifier.
네, TV 끄는 거는 뭐 요즘 다 되잖아요. TV 켜고
So,
뭐 몇 번 돌려 다
This
되고요.
AI
냉장고
air
뭐가
air
들었어?
purifier
무슨
can like turn on or turn off the TV, and it can also show you what's inside in your refrigerator, and it can operate to washer, and it can also has facial recognition AI
유출이 안 되는 거예요. 그래서 이렇게 해서
on your
제가
doorstep.
한 겁니다. 이 모델
So
만들기 위해서
that's the model I produced
만들어 보시잖아요. NKT
in order
AI
to show the idea of this
만들었던 겁니다.
joint project.
그래서 원래 이거 지원 받을 뻔했는데
So I was almost to gain funding for this project, but failed because I had to move out to Germany and I couldn't find anyone else who will replace me. So I feel so sorry for this project.
제가 이 모델을 만들고 그
So
다음 해 바로
I
나와야
created
되는
this model,
전국의
and the
학교에,
next year
학교에
in all schools
학교의 초등학교 교실 모두 공기청정기
in South Korea,
결정이 났어요.
like all elementary
이거
schools,
대박인데.
like the government
이렇게
issued
안 될까요?
a decree to install air purifiers in every elementary school in South Korea. I'm going to share
북한 기술 가지고 상품을 만들 때 시장성이 있는 게 있냐라고 많이 물어봅니다.
screen.
근데 제가 이걸 만들어 보고
And the reason why I shared this project idea that I had in the past is because
확실히 들었고요.
I would like to show you that North Korea's high-tech product has market advantage in the world market.
자, 화면 다시 공유됐죠?
So now you can see my screen again. Good.
자, 그럼 이런 정도로 봤을 때 북한의
So based on this understanding,
특히
scientific technology in North Korea, I think they are pretty much
그거는
marketable.
우리의 잘못된 신화입니다. 주변의
And
고등학생들이 여러분들한테 상의를 할 때
if
저 이공계 갈까요?
you have
여러분들이 그 친구들한테
your neighbors, like young people
그거 아니면 하지 마라고
in
절대 안 해요.
your neighborhood, if they ask you if it is would be a good idea for them to go to university in majoring in engineering,
그거 가면
and what would you say to them?
기본적으로 그걸 물어보죠. 기본적으로 이공계 나와서
Basically, you would ask if there is a good job opportunity if you go to university majoring in engineering. So that's the basic question. So we are not asking if
기술 중에
that person is aiming to
쓸만한 기술이 있냐 이게 제일 중요한 겁니다.
one
항상 1등만
aiming to win a Nobel Prize.
공급을 해주는 게 핵심이에요. 그래서
So
그런 취지에
the
보면
essential here
있다라는
in
판단은
education
그래서 거기에 관련된
is
정보를 제가
that whether
쭉
we
해서
can produce
모으고요. 데이터를
products
만들고
that
있습니다.
can
그래서 그
make
바탕으로
everybody's daily life more
내용을
convenient,
바탕으로
easier,
제가 이제 제안하는
enjoyable. So based
1회
on the previous lectures, like series lectures I provided, so based on
첫
that,
그리고 최고 품질
what I am suggesting in practice is
그게
to
국가의
have an exchange
그걸 통과해야
cooperation
품질
project
문제가
between
인정을
two Koreas based on North Korea's scientific technology. So like the
지금처럼
first
이렇게
DPRK Korea advanced technology products and
적극적으로 활용하고
high quality
속에
products
제
expo,
있습니다.
but it has never been held.
그리고 최고 첨단
So this expo,
1등 혹은 지금 있는 기술
like
중에서
the advanced technology, high tech
이거는 품질이 이제 그냥
products,
로컬 수준이 아니라 전
and
세계 수준으로
it should be like high quality product.
왜 하느냐? 제가 장사꾼이
Why
아니기 때문에
am I
선파하는
suggesting this expo? Is because I'm not a
저는
businessman,
아니지만
so
북한에서는
it is not for profit. But
지금 북한하고
the
친한
first goal of suggesting this expo is that we have to prepare after the sanctions to be lifted.
도와줄 수는 있지만 아직은 우호적인 흐름은 아니죠. 그 나라를 벗어난 서방 세계로 가면은
There are
북한은
not many countries
을 준비하는 걸
friendly enough
좋아야 또 연착륙
to
가능하고요.
North Korea
또 하나는 제품 가지고 왜
to help North Korea sell its products to the world market.
해제해야 된다는 분위기 조성입니다.
So we have
북한은
to create
무기만 만드는
this sales
않고
network for
상품
North Korea
개발을 많이 하고 있다.
after the sanctions to be lifted. And the second goal
기업가들이
is that we
북한하고
have to create an
조인트벤처를 만듭니다.
environment to
이게 돈 된다.
promote
설득을 해야 분위기도
the
올라간다는 거죠.
lift of the sanctions.
그리고 제 사심이 좀 들어갑니다. 북한 내부 정보가
And the third goal
제품 그리고 공장 기술 이런 것들을
is
좀 더 날 그대로 볼 수가 있고
like
그러면 제 말을
upgrading
통하면 저라는
research on North Korea.
그래도 자본주의 세상에서
So,
통용될 수 있는 언어로
like for
번역
example,
제가 그걸 앞장서서 해보겠다 뭐 이런 취지입니다. 그래서
if we have this expo
19년이죠. 코로나 일어나기
realized, then we will have on-hand experience about North Korea's scientific technology level.
한들을 통해서 다 제안을 해서
In July
넣었고요.
2019, so July 2019, I submitted a proposal to the Ministry of External Economy Relations and agencies. And August 2019, I also submitted a proposal to the Ministry of External Economy Relations, and it was received by the ministry. And the same month, we had a meeting in Pyongyang between the Ministry of External Economy Relations and my agencies. So there were two parties meeting. And North Korean counterparts were so surprised to see the proposal because they thought that it would be like it would be like to have a booth, like small booth, as a part of international expo. But my proposal was to hold an expo entirely dedicated to North Korea's products. So they agreed with the proposal. So they sent me an invitation to visit, and then the Ministry of External Economy Relations asked me to provide this, detailed plans, action plans. So I sent to them, and in November 2019, I was on my business trip to China, and I met some people from North Korea, and I received this invitation to discuss further in Pyongyang. So I applied for official visit to Pyongyang, but then the COVID-19 broke out, so it is suspended until now. So what I want to say is that not only I'm providing lectures about North Korea's scientific technology, but I have been actually utilizing the opportunity to suggest a proposal, practical proposal, and then the proposal was basically received by North Korea, and so anyway, so all the audiences today, you are not free from just running away from my proposals. That you have to join in any form. So
돈 안 들이고 광고하는 버전이 되죠. 그래서 라스베가스 보고 여기
So
컨벤션은
for example,
상품을 땅 전시하면 그냥 광고비 제로로
whenever
가진 거죠. 시작한 거였습니다.
a news media
그래서 지금 여기 이제 노란
broadcast about North Korea issue, maybe we can have some advertisement attached to this news about North Korea's high-tech, high-quality products. So the basic idea is to have independent solo expo in Europe or the United States. So the preparation level 1 is to have a promotion about the meaning and information about this expo idea. We can have some articles printed or providing lectures, and the preparation level 2 is the recruiting observers and buyers. And we can also produce and sell souvenirs. And on the date of the expo, we will have actual exhibitions. We will have all booths installed and manage the participants. And also on the date of expo, we can provide selling, purchasing, consulting. It could be one-to-one, or it could be one to multi parties. And we so it can also go beyond the sanctions, because the sanctions prohibit the moving of things, materials. It does not prohibit exchange of ideas, information. So we can have conferences on the date of expo, and one side event would be launching a virtual exhibition using AR or VR. And side event 2 could be like inter-Korean coding or gaming contest. So even in North Korea, some students are allowed to do online gaming, even they have access to internet. So it would not be like a professional game contest, but it could be like an amateur game contest between the two Koreas, or like we can have unified team of two Koreas and contest against foreign participants. And startup ideas contest could be also supported by IT. So I have like so many ideas to support the first North Korea high-tech products and high-quality products expo. Maybe I was so too naive because I don't have money, I don't have any background like network. So maybe North Korea has some doubt about me because I don't have anything backing my idea, like a pure idea.
수익자 부담이다. 너도 기업이 나오면 그 기업이
But
너 경기 너가 되는 거야.
my
그러니까 이거 꽉 묶어놓은
basic
게 있었는데
concept
내가
is
만약에
very
그
simple.
전체 펀딩이 잘 되면 그러면은
If I have a
펀딩을
funding,
있지만 내가 해준다라고
and
생각하지
it
않아요.
would be based on the
그렇게 생각하지
benefits
않아요.
that like
기업은 그 기업
entrepreneurs
자체가
can gain
이루어야
from
된다.
the expo.
나는 이거 꾸리는 것만
So
논다는데
if you expect
하고
any
얘를
business
통해서
size,
당연히 내가
business
된장
case
된장에
from the
빠지지
expo,
말고
then
있었던 놈이죠.
you pay for the
그래서
expo.
1940년대, 50년대
So that's basically my idea.
이런 얘기 있었죠. 힘 있는 사람 힘으로,
Um,
지식 있는 사람 지식으로,
before
돈 있는
the
사람
division
돈으로
into two
통일을 하자.
Koreas
그래서
in
만들어서
1940s and
한반도
in
통일하겠다라고 했을 때 저는 좀 더 늦죠.
in the
그렇게 해먹었죠.
1940s, like there was
저도
a big,
이런 걸
a
사업을
very
하고
strong slogan
해보신 분
to
전시
have
전문
independence
혹은
from Japanese
전광
colonialism is that
각각의
like,
아닌
if you have a
각각의
power, you
제도의
contribute
좀 큰
with your power. If
그래서
you have
저는
knowledge,
인맥을 했는데
contribute with your knowledge, and if you have money,
돼서
provide
하게
money.
됐어.
So that's the
이 뜻이
basically
모여야
that's
이
basically my idea that if we have experience, if we have a personal network, if we have passion, you contribute to what you have to this expo
그래서 여기도
to be
뚫는
realized.
연결들이
So
시작한다고 막 되는 게 아니잖아요.
the
돈이
basic
있어도
step
기업부터 시작해서 서너
to
사람이
have this
막 하게
expo
되면
idea realized is that
이제부터
first organize
준비를 해야 됩니다. 제가 그때 만들 때는
a promotion committee.
은퇴하신 정재계 선생님들을 만들었어요.
So
독일 사람들. 그
like
사람들이
2 years ago, I met
하고
some
이렇게
people,
만들었어요. 사인볼이 없었어. 그때는 코로나 나고
influencers in
많은 회사가
Germany,
그러니까 그러면 오케이. 그러면 사인만 받아와. 무기 동의한다.
and
어그리먼트만 받아오면
they said that if North Korea agrees with this idea, this proposal, then they were willing to support this idea. And yes, I got the invitation from North Korea and I got the agreement from North Korea. So if they have not changed their intention due to COVID-19, then I would have their support. And next, we have to create or organize planning committee for the exhibition. And it should be based on better understanding of North Korea. And there should be commitment to the project. So I think this idea and the process itself to prepare this expo can be contributing to cultivating future generation. So it has the rationale to have this expo in terms of future generation education. And because I don't have legal knowledge or legal expertise, I can have an advisory committee to provide legal and political advices. And there are people who should do prepare and manage the events and networking support. And if you cannot join, contribute to any of these committees, then you can still do by purchasing products at the expo. So there are system, it is called the exchange agency or agent in North Korea. That's like a basic unit for technology-based startup. As of September 2018, North Korea had more than 50 exchange agencies in operation. So I can show you the list of these exchange agencies. So it is about like developing Android program, solar energy, or like a simulation, like a driving simulation, and
OS 만들고요. 컴퓨터
batteries,
컴퓨터도 만들고 있기도 하고요.
and
제가 대학교에게
is
이 정도
also producing
뭐뭐뭐 교류소라는 이름으로 기술
high capacity computers. So like
안타깝게도
there
이런
are
부분이
many
글로벌을 중심으로
centers,
그다음에
agencies
석유 자본이
working on advanced technology.
것 정도 벤처를 같이
As I understand, there are
그래서 뭐 간단한
investment from China
2017년 버전입니다.
into about like a 20 project. Like in 2017,
안 하던 1등 애들이 가는 그 대학이고요. 김일성 종합대는 얘들한테 뽑히고 남은 쭈꺼기들이 가는 거기서 처음으로 나와서 3차원 시뮬레이션 게임기를
Kim Jong-un University students
리눅스 체계이고요.
joined this expo.
LCD 패널인데 TV가 보니까
This
보더라도 한 50인치 넘어.
is the LCD panel TV.
중국 해양 기술
It
교류소
looks like it is bigger than, like larger than like 50 inches. So you see also this ocean technology exchange center, like something like that. So until 2015, North Korea had this national programming competition and exhibition, and the title changed to National IT Advancement Exhibition or National Informatization Advancement Exhibition in 2016. So,
여기 나온 것만 가지고 우리가 외부에 소개해도 충분히 주목을 끌고
so these experts provide enough information to understand the North Korea's scientific technology and to understand that North Korea has been transitioning its military technology into peaceful use for people's daily lives.
좀 길어졌는데요. 두 번째는
So,
남북 교차 강의.
second is investment into education.
북쪽의 선생님하고 북쪽의 선생님이 서로
So it's basically
만우절날 교실을 선생님들이 바꿔 들어갔을 때 애들이 깜짝 놀라는 그거
math science education centered exchange and cooperation. Basic idea is that like, you provide cross education on math and science. Like,
그래서 왜 바꾸는데 뭐라고 하시는 분은 교육을 모르시는 분입니다.
so why it is important to have cross education is because it's the first step to have a better education. Effect is to draw attention, to create attention from students. About 10 years ago, there was a inter-Korean quiz. I'm not sure if you remember this one, but that was basically like North Korea's quiz contest, and South Korea just imported a recorded video of this North Korean quiz contest and edited it to look like South Korean students and North Korean students are competing in the same program. So it's possible to do the similar things right now. Like you can invite South Korean teachers to North Korea and teach North Korean students, and we can invite North Korean teachers to South Korea. Like for example, I can teach physics, and it can create attention and curiosity among students. And also, as I mentioned before, education is a humanitarian aid, so it can be exempted from the sanctions. So educational support, educational aid, educational exchange to North Korea can be exempted from the sanctions. But if it is not possible, then still we have another channel that like South Korea, Germany, and Germany, North Korea. Like we can circumvent the sanctions. And the format of the lectures, North Korea also has this virtual remote lecture system. For example, recent article from North Korea shows that North Korean students are listening, like learning from virtual course from Germany, something like that. So it's possible to have like remote real-time lecture or remote recorded lectures. And the content could be aligned with the official curriculum at school or after school special lectures or like a one-time lecture, or it could be non-subject lectures like motivation or like show teaching how to study better, more effectively, like how to memorize the things, like tips to best memorization, something like that. So there are interesting things to teach beyond the regular curriculum. So, or maybe like North Korean university students or South Korean university students can visit each other's country and teach middle and high school students. And this idea can be materialized as an e-learning business model. So joint development of e-learning would be possible. So there are educational experts combined with IT technology. It can create a new business area. And we can also produce educational videos, like film, special effect. North Korea is very good at special effect. So like, for example, there is a report that like, North Korea actually was commissioned a third of film special effects in the past. So it's because there is no proper combination between educational experts and information technology. But cooperation exchange with North Korea, as we have all the resources available. And for science and math, it's very easy to translate into different languages. So the e-learning programs can be easily marketable to the world market. So when we can combine technologies between the two Koreas, we can easily enter the world market. And again, this is exempted from the sanctions. We can start immediately because it is outside of the sanctions. But unfortunately, the governments of two Koreas are reluctant to do this due to the tension between the two countries. Or it could be subjected to the sanctions, but maybe overseas Koreans can do something outside of this political background, political obstacles. So private people can do better here. So if you are interested in this project, just contact me. Sorry that it took longer than I expected. So you have to sign up for any role in this project. If not, you cannot go home. Thank you for your lecture.
네, 정말 박사님 너무 재밌는
Thank you so much. It was so interesting. It was a very interesting suggestion. So now
저희가 토론으로 넘어가겠습니다.
we will do follow-up discussions. I'm going to share my screen.
네, 저 이제 토론을 하게 되겠는데요.
So we will start the discussion.
하신 분들이 신청을 하셨습니다.
First, we will hear those who pre-registered as a panelist. Among the 4 people who volunteered to take part in the discussion,
캠페인 및 옹호 전략가이신 이현정님 해주셨습니다. 그리고 고은광수님,
we have 이현정, 이은희, 고은광순, and 정현진.
먼저 이현정님 먼저
So first of all, I'm going to hear from 이현정 from Women Across the DMZ. Thank you so much. It was so interesting, very exciting. And I really loved your lecture style. From now on, I'm going to speak in English. So if you want to listen to Korean, you have to change your language into Korean.
So I really appreciate the professor's proposal for cooperation between North and South through science and technology. This is something very new and fresh idea. I think that we will all agree. And so I hope that that is successful and it will speed up the process of unification between the North and South. I also really appreciate the idea of the exposition to introduce North Korea's science and technology to the rest of the world. I hope that that will also change people's mind about how we think about North Korea. And I hope that that kind of project will also lead to peace with North Korea. I think that is especially important right now because of the global politics that we are living in. The increased competition and tension between US and China really puts the Korean Peninsula in a very dangerous position. We are in the crosshair between 2 great superpowers, not only US and China, but also Japan. And so I really believe that unification between North and South is all the more important now because of the precarious regional politics and global politics that we are living in. I think most people here will agree that the biggest obstacle, even looking at just recent history, let alone the past 70 years, when we think about North and South cooperation, the biggest obstacle has been US policy, right? US ROK working group, US ROK military exercise, and the US sanctions and the UN command, they have all been the obstacles. And so, you know, many of us on this webinar, we are from in the United States. And so I really believe that as Koreans living in the United States, our job really is to demand a change in US policy so that North-South cooperation becomes more possible. The last thing I want to say is, you know, listening to Professor Kang's presentation really made me think about who is science and technology for? What is it for? Should it be used for profits? or should it be used for people? And I will just tell you one story from my personal experience. In 2006, I was living in Queens, New York, and there was a big blackout for several days, I think. And there was a lawsuit against Con Edison, the main utility company. And the people of Queens won a settlement from Con Edison. I don't know how much money, but millions of dollars. It was a lot of money. So, because we live in a democratic country, there were town hall meetings inviting people from Queens to come and talk about what should we do with this money. So I propose, hey, let's train young people in Queens to build solar panels on every rooftop. Because then the next time there is a blackout, it will be more sustainable because we will use solar energy. Everybody said, no, it's impossible. So why is impossible? Well, it's too expensive and the laws are complicated. No, it's not possible. Several years later, I went to Palestine, West Bank. This is a country where people are very poor. They've been living under Israeli occupation for many decades. You know what I saw there? I saw solar panels on every rooftop. Every house had solar panels. And I said, why this is impossible in Queens and it's possible in the West Bank? Because it's not because we don't have the money or we don't have the technology. It's because of the political will, right? And what I learned through that experience is in the United States, in our system, if there is a profit motive, everything moves very quickly and efficiently. If there is no profit motive and we are trying to do something for the people, there's no money, there's too much bureaucracy, and nothing will move. So I say this only to say that in the future, hopefully in the near future, when we live in a unified Korea, I hope that science and technology will be for the people, not for profit. Thank you.
감사합니다. 강우재 박사님,
Thank you so much.
있으신가요?
Do you have any comment to her discussion?
네, 고맙습니다.
Thank you.
한마디가
I would like to add only one more thing.
리스트업을 한 것 중에 어느 부분에서 참가하실 거예요?
So, in which part are you going to contribute to this expert?
네, 과학기술은요.
So,
쓰는 사람의 마음이죠.
yes, scientific technology can be used for multiple uses by those who use them. It can be used for profit, it can be used for others, it can be used for weapons. So we are saying that we have to melt down weapons and create agricultural tools. And that is the basic idea integrated in my suggestion. So we should not maintain our investment money, personal resources into nuclear program, but we have to use the same resources into production for daily necessities. And North Korea is willing to shift to the trend. And when we can use scientific technology in peaceful use, then we can do that, and that is one of the goals of this expo idea. So actually, North Korea suggested development of solar panel to South Korean NGOs, but South Korea rejected the idea. But it has been installed in North Korea actually through the borderline with China. So that is we have like an open door to that
민주평화통일 샌프란시스코
exchange.
협의회.
And next we will hear Gun-hee from Newark San Francisco chapter. Hello, everyone. My name is Gu Eun-hee from San Francisco chapter of NUA. We have been experiencing difficulties due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And one of the benefits of the COVID-19 pandemic is that like, we can join all different virtual lectures, including your lecture. So I was so fortunate to have your lecture virtually. And so I only missed one lecture of yours previously, but thanks that there was recorded videos for your lecture, so I was able to listen to all lectures. And so I prepared my comment in my life. I had like three opportunities to rethink my understanding of politics and history of the two Koreas. The first one is when I first realized the reality of Gwangju massacre, and until 1970s, North Korea's economy was better than South Korea's. So there was a second shock, and third was like the relationship between two Koreas and the United States. It is very unfortunate to hear all the countries only focused on North Korea's nuclear issue only. And we have a lack of discussions about peace, building, and unification. So that's why I really loved your lectures, because you were talking about that. Nuclear issue started from science and technology, and you cannot understand fully the nuclear issue without knowledge in science. But then you are the expert in scientific technology of North Korea. You provided enough information, so could have a better understanding of the issue. Thank you so much. The peace building and unification issue of the Korean Peninsula is not just political issue, but it should be based on better understanding of each other's system, including scientific technology and economic system. So I think that is one of the ways that we can contribute better to peace building and unification of the Koreas. So as a non-expert, non-scientist, I have thought of what I can do to contribute to the unification. One of the things that I thought of is maybe I can contribute to the overcoming the differences in languages, even though North and South Korea speak Korean, but there are a lot of changes took place during the division. So maybe we needed some education or research on the differences made during the division in Korean language. And we can provide education about that. And I heard that like there is a metal print, like the oldest metal print remaining in North Korea. Like maybe we can cooperate in terms of exploring the remains of the oldest metal print somewhere stored somewhere in North Korea. Maybe there can be another project. So anyway, thank you so much for all the organizers and Dr. Kang for your lecture. And this Saturday, we have another event related to unification issues that like young generation from the United States are going to suggest the unification ideas. So I'm going to share the Zoom link on the chat.
네, 감사합니다.
Thank you.
그다음 고은 강수님.
Next, we will hear from Ko Eun Kwang-sun, chairperson of the Action One Korea. Hello, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Kang. I am tuning in from North Chungcheong province. I moved here 9 years ago. My neighbors, especially the older generations in my neighborhood, they still have hostility, like negative ideas about North Korea. They still think North Korea is our enemy. So when I was making a hat for North Korean kids, like they said, like, why are you making these things for the enemy? So we have to first break this idea. And it was very grateful to know how advanced North Korea's scientific technology is. So if two Koreas have like similar level of high technology, high scientific technology, then it will be much easier for us to integrate the two systems into one and to have exchange programs. So North Korea is transitioning from its nuclear like weapons technology into peaceful use. That is a very good idea to know. And so about the like air purifier idea that you suggested, listening to you, if North Korea has this advanced technology in manufacturing air purifiers, then maybe we can apply the same technology into other appliances like cleaners. So, and I also thought that it would be great to teach South Korean students about how advanced the North Korean scientific technology is. But there is one concern that the military industry in the United States has hindered the exchange, inter-Korean exchange for the last 70 years. And how can we stop them? How can we overcome their like they're hindering from inter-Korean exchange? So you suggested that we maybe offer
네,
like
감사합니다.
op-eds or like promotional activity efforts. Yes, I can contribute to that. I'm going to answer to your concern about the military industry. So yes, everybody agrees that the military industry would be very hostile or protesting to this idea, this kind of idea. But in fact, like, the United States multinational corporations are actually very active in entering North Korean market. For example, the agricultural giant Cargill was one of the first entrepreneurs enter North Korean market. Why? Because they have the desire, like agreed to acquire the patent like seed patents of North Korea. And under the Biden administration, the administration seems to plan to mitigate the sanctions. I'm not sure what would happen, but anyway, right now, under the sanctions, all living things or like all materials are prohibited to go into or come out of North Korea. But the only exemption is that information and information technology, like a patent, that is exempted from the United States government sanctions against North Korea. So, like for example, maybe like the reason why Google is so eager to enter North Korean market is because maybe it can commission the like the customer service work that is currently commissioned to India could go to North Korea. So what I am saying is that we have to go first, then we can get the advantage.
네, 감사합니다. 그다음은 정연진
So
대표님의
next we will hear from 정연진.
안녕하세요.
Hello everyone.
한국의 정현진입니다.
My name is 정연진 from Action One Korea.
언급하셨던 애니메이션 분야에
Dr. Kang
협력 사업에 대해서
mentioned maybe like inter-Korean exchange idea about like animation or like special effect things. And I'm going to introduce
공유 가능한가요?
a program that I have been engaged with.
북에 갔을 때 이제 과학기술 전당이라는 데를 가봤는데요.
I went to the pavilion of scientific technology. There I saw North Korean kids watching animation. It looks something like Disney's animation. So I was surprised to see North Korean kids were watching animations, and there were many animations produced jointly with North and South Korea. So I thought that maybe it could be a very possible promising project. So there was like a kid warrior. There's an animation based on the times of Goguryeo. And so you can see that how they created this animation. So there are many animations for kids. There are many famous ones. And there is like one, this like smart raccoon. And this smart raccoon, the story is scientific technology educational video. So there is a cat, raccoon, and other animals appearing and helping kids understand the science and technology easily through this animation. And the first joint production of 3D animation between two Koreas was Lazy Cat Dinga in 2001. And the second project was in 2002. The title is the Pororo. And this animation was exported to more than 100 countries. And as you said, the animation joint project of creating an animation was exempted from the sanctions. And the third one was Simcheong, and it was also directed by Korean Japanese director. And that was the last joint project in 2005. So it's been already 15 years since the final joint project, animation project was done. So after 15 years, there is high expectation that maybe we can restart this joint project. And this is a comic that I bought from North Korea. It's about the origin of Korea. And so I thought that it would be very promising to have exchange and cooperation project in animation, because there is low cultural barrier compared to other media. And we already have a successful joint project experiences, and it can be a very promising content to the world market, and it can also help to Korea's reaffirm the common things, common grounds. And for example, this the third animation, joint animation, was about Simcheong, and the promotional title was that it is to revive 1,000 years legend, and the animation project can be this opportunity. And we can also create exchange and cooperation programs with public schools in the United States. So like the United States kids communicate in English, so Korean students can learn English by communicating with American kids, and also South Korean students can teach advanced computer technology they have. So this kind of like cultural project can help overcome the hostility or negative ideas about North Korea in the United States and in South Korea. So I think that is one of the ways that we can actually contribute to the unification and peace building on the Korean Peninsula.
네, 감사합니다.
Thank you.
제가 한마디만 좀 붙이면
I can add one thing that animation project, I think it'll be a little bit difficult to be organized or supported by the private sector only, because it requires a lot of capital investment. And I heard from those who had participated in the joint animation project, they said that they had so much difficulties of communicating with the North Korean counterparts. So, and it is for profit also. And in North Korea, they have technology to how do I say, like it is like to make black and white film into color film. So it has great market possibility, market advantage, this kind of technologies, but because it requires a lot of capital investment, so maybe after the sanctions to be lifted, there is more possibility to have that. But But that's one of the ideas that I also considered. Thank you so much for all of you, like for your ideas and sharing your opinions. And why the reason why I prepared this lecture series is because we don't know a lot about North Korea, and I have a son, 8 years old, and according to the contents that he learns from school about North Korea is that like North Korea is enemy, North Korea like North Korea is pretty much demonized. So that's why like sometimes my son asks me whether I am a North Korean spy because I have so much interest in North Korean issue and I say good things about North Korea. So that's why I thought that we needed to learn better about North Korea, and that's why I prepared this lecture series. And so the first lecture, Dr. Kang explained about the nuclear technology, and second, the transition of weapon technology into peaceful use. So the final lecture today is a proposal of North Korea's high tech, high quality products export. You know that like in California, we every year we have CES, the world biggest technology expo, and I was thinking that maybe when South Korean capital, private capital meets with North Korea's technology, then we can create something that is similar to the annual CES conference here. And if we can show the possibility, then it will be really possible to have the world know, understand how advanced the North Korean scientific technology is. And when we have the sanctions lifted, we will have more possibility, but there are many things that we can do even now. I estimated like how much money would be necessary to have this expo. So, I mean, if we have to compensate all the scientists or technicians from North Korea, it would require a lot of money at the beginning. But we do have an innovative system of a cloud system, cloud funding. So maybe we can use the kind of approach. And also the admission ticket sometimes it costs like $100 or $1,000. So like if we sell admission ticket at like $1,000, if we have like 1,000 people, then like we have enough money um, to be earned just by selling admission ticket. And if we cannot do the like a joint export, then maybe we can just have like two separate expo in the same place at the same time. Then it would have the similar effect of having joint expo. But anyway, like, so there are different ideas, and as Chigasu said that maybe it would be a great idea to have North Korean products exhibited at the annual CES conference in the United States, but it would be a little bit difficult right now. So it could be a long-term goal, but we can start to from Europe or Turkey, England, Germany, and we can start to, from small like a small expo in one country in
이런
Europe,
의미로 해서 저는 사람들
but
는 게 핵심이니까요. 얘기를 계속 던지고
but
새로운
it can
방안을
continue to
이게 우리
have
신반대
this
평화를 가져오는 방안이다라고
tour, like the export
가장
tour,
의미거든요. 그래서
then
청면
so like
판단을 지금부터 모으고
so
각 영역의 전문가들이
from today
적극적으로 저는
I am recruiting like 1,000
와서
people
모이는 거에서
who
더
are willing to
최선의
attend the
결과물을
expo.
가져가게 만들 수 있지 않을까라는 생각이 또 이게 계산은 좀
If we have like 1,000 people, 1,000 people who buy admission ticket, then
어느 정도 손해 안 보고
yeah,
됐나
according to my calculation, like 1,000 people would be enough to make this expo possible.
좀 모아서
And I am also approaching entrepreneurs who have interest in the expo idea and who can provide actual purchasing consulting. And we also have to promote the media coverage. And like right now, under the sanctions, international sanctions, the United sanctions, that like, you cannot even allow materials cross your country if it is directed to North Korea. Look at these things that we can change. So the sanctions committee, the UN resolution would be over next year. The committee would be over next year, and there should be a renewed resolution to organize the sanctions committee or have the sanctions imposed. So there should be a new debate. Actually, the debate was scheduled to be held March this year, last March, but it was deferred to next year. So I think we have to catch the opportunity that we have to target the UN Sanctions Committee to persuade them there is a necessity to lift the sanctions. So in order to do that, I think the minimum is that like we need to have like 1,000 people who are willing to participate in the expo. You don't have to pay now. I can accept the promissory note also. But anyway, like I just need the people to show their intention, their commitment. I don't think North Korea would expect we present actual software, actual products right now. So, and with these activities, we can have some kind of like a promotion, like advocacy activities to show that how evil the sanctions is. Like the United Nations sanctions is even prohibiting peaceful exchange, such as this expo. And my plan B is that I am creating a list of companies, possible companies and possible products. So there would not be like an actual expo, virtual expo, but only a catalog of past promising companies and products be published. But that is the minimum. I don't want to that as my main goal, but anyway. So thank you for your lecture and thank you for your discussions from
하시면
the four
되겠습니다.
participants previously, and now we are moving into a free debate or Q&A.
정도가 이렇게 올라왔었습니다.
We have some questions already
질문하시면
presented on the chat box. Maybe those people who
질문하시면 됩니다.
who had questions or opinions.
강우재 박사님 한 3년 전에 제가 처음
누구신가요?
Hello,
박신화입니다. 박신화.
my
로스앤젤레스.
name is Park Shin-hwa in Los Angeles.
여기 통일전략분과 LA이고요. 또 미국 장로교 평화 통일 네트워크의 멤버입니다.
I am a member of the Peace and Unification Committee of the Presbyterian Church in Los Angeles.
그렇죠. 네. 그래서 여기 오셔서 강 박사님 하신 건 뭐 처음부터
I
끝까지
attended your lecture 3 years ago,
귀에 쏙쏙 들어오고 또 새롭게
and I always like your lectures. Very informative and very exciting. Especially the fourth lecture today provided a clear picture for a promising bright future of the two Koreas, so I loved it. Thank you. Due to the sanctions of the United States against North Korea, it has been a big obstacle to peaceful unification of the Korean Peninsula. And that's why we have focused our advocacy onto the message to lift the sanctions. And because of the political tensions, if it is difficult to lift the sanctions right now, then maybe we can circumvent with scientific technology exchanges, something like that. So that's why I found that your lecture was so helpful. And as you suggested, even though we have not realized them yet, but I am confident that you can realize it in the near future, and maybe I can also join in creating a seed money for this project. We have to start right now. And while it is important to engage with decision makers, but it is also important to have grassroots advocacy movement here. And I loved your idea of air purifier project.
정말
맞습니다.
감사합니다. 그거
Thank you.
항상 젊으시고 볼 때마다 젊어지세요. 오늘
You are always young and active, and in your red shirts, you look even younger.
감사합니다.
Thank you.
선생님, 녹화됐습니다.
So I have your comments recorded.
또 계실까요?
Anyone else?
아까 질문 몇 개 올려주신 것 같은데 린다모 선생님. 지금 나가셨나 봅니다.
There was a few questions presented by Linda Go, but I don't see her now. Anyone else?
네, 뭐 오늘 질의까지는 아닐
네,
것 같고요.
신정숙 선생님 그러면 질문해 주세요.
네. 신정수.
저기 그 러시아 쪽에 여행을 갔는데 놀이기구가
I
어디에 사시는 누구신지 좀.
저 서울에 사는 신정숙입니다.
예.
My name is Shinjung-soo from Seoul.
그 놀이기구나 이런 거나 장난감
I
좀 관심이 많아요.
am a
그래서 이제 그쪽 개발이 좀
kindergarten teacher,
애들이 이제 뭐 공부를
and I am interested in like a theme park or entertainment. So
많이 줄 수 있는 그런 거 아이들과 소통할 수 있는 그
I think
카톡 같은 거 말고 약간 그렇게 소통할 수 있는 그런 것도
maybe it'll be great to have like interesting apps to communicate with the different people, such as KakaoTalk or maybe it'll be good to have a joint cooperation project in developing apps. Well, it's even difficult for us to communicate with the North Korean people because of the National Security Act. So it will be a little bit dangerous for kids to communicate with the North Korean. But I'm not sure whether there would be immediate change in the political landscape between um, around North Korea, because
분위기가 되면
but
민간에 사는 걸 우리가 몰라. 이거는 되는데 정부가 나서서
I
그걸 깨기는
so that's why I don't think the government may not be able to go front, because there is lack of mutual trust between governments. So maybe private sector can replace, but I also see that not many young generation engage with the unification movement. So there is a gap, and there is a lack of governmental support, lack of funding, and difficulty to mobilize the people. So all these difficulties, well, even though I speak of bright, promising future things, possibilities, but for the last 2 years, I was alone with this idea.
네,
So
추가하세요.
yeah,
하세요.
there are difficulties, but
추진위원회가 잘 꾸려졌으면 좋겠는데요. 좀 참가하고 싶어요. 네,
예,
이상입니다.
남자분들이
고맙습니다.
I
어떻게
hope you can have a
분들은 활동 못 하고
promoting committee,
1000명
and
관단으로
I
하는 분은
can join
참가만 하시고요. 나오셔야
the
일을 같이
the
하지 않을까.
promoting committee if it is organized once.
고맙습니다.
그럼 미국은요? 우리 미국에
Then what about the people living in the United
미국은
States?
적극적으로 해주셔야죠. 미국의 로비도 해야 되고요.
You have to work active. You have so many entrepreneurs, venture companies in the United States, including those in San Francisco.
너무 반갑고 우리
It's
한국의 호주제를
very personal, but thank you so much for the work of Ko Kwang-soon. She is the one who contributed significantly to abolish the
다 되어 있습니다, 선생님. 하시겠다고 한 거. 되물릴 수 없습니다, 우리는.
the male family member based registration system.
미국도 한 축이 돼야죠.
So please let me know what we can do from the United States.
기업가들을 연결해 주셔야 됩니다.
You have to engage. You have to have engagement with the U.S. companies.
그것뿐만 아니라 미국의 기업가들, 구글부터
So
해서
not only Korean American companies, Korean American entrepreneurs in the United States, but also like the U.S. companies in the United States. I think they can be very interested into this project. Like for example, like many German entrepreneurs that I have met, they said like, is it possible with the sanctions, and if it is possible, then they are interested in. So, but at the same time, in order to motivate entrepreneurs, we have to have detailed catalog to draw their attention, to draw their interest into the project. So, but in order to do that, I have to meet those people, so you can help me to connect with those companies. And also for the air purifier idea, that's so interesting. But until 2016, um, because air purifier is not highly added value, so that's why like Chinese companies such as Xiaomi, they are currently like dominating the world market. So so maybe we needed to wait a while so that we have like highly added value products enough to motivate North Korea to join the project. But anyway, right now, I am first promoting the idea of the expo first, so that I can show young generation or like young entrepreneurs that there is a business case to exchange with North Korea. So like we have this startup incubator system, support system in South Korea. So we have to first to create enabling environment to use such startup incubator system in inter-Korean exchange cooperation project.
네, 강호재 박사님, 거기 현재 시간이 지금
Thank
새벽
you.
1시 정도
I understand that
되셨을 텐데, 예, 정말
it
강연도
is
해주시고
already 1 a.m. in your time. Yes, it is.
감사드립니다.
Thank you for preparing the lecture and thank you for actively joining the debate. And I would like to also thank the 4 people who joined as panelists in the discussion.
액션 원 코리아의 정연진 대표님 모두 다 감사드립니다.
Thank you so much for your contributions.
4월부터 진행해온 북한
With
북핵
this,
경제 바로 알기
we are announcing the end of the lecture series. Thank you so much, everyone.
감사하겠습니다. 그리고 꼭 보고 싶다 하시는
Let's
분들은
give a big hand to all of us. And if you want to
꼭 많이 봐주시기 바랍니다.
review
강우재 박사님,
or if you want to share the lectures, we have a
감사합니다.
YouTube channel with all the 4 lectures recorded and uploaded. One last thing, can I ask you one thing?
지금 강 박사님 강의 감사하고요. 제가 지금
Thank you for your lecture. I am in Seoul right now.
잠깐 놓쳤습니다. 앞에 부분을.
So I missed the first part.
유튜브로 들어볼게요.
So I'm going to listen to the lecture again from YouTube.
제가 제안한 것도 아니고
I have one thing to
저희가
suggest.
이렇게 하자 이렇게
There is interchange, logistics,
그 사람으로
exchange academy.
그 외국의
We
편집원이
prepared a letter
도움이 되잖아요. 그래서 그 내용은 남북 교류하게
to send the message
그리고
to lift the sanctions so that inter-Korean exchanges and cooperations can be achieved and also advocate to facilitate the dialogue. I think it would be a good idea to have this letter to be co-signed by many people across the world. So you are asking us to sign the petition?
사실은 이제 성김 대사님께 드리는 거예요.
Yes, this open letter is sent to Ambassador Song Kim.
담당이잖아요.
그렇다고 우리가 왜 그
Why
사람한테
to
그런
Ambassador Song Kim? Because he is in charge of North Korean issue. Then, but why should we send a letter to Ambassador Song Kim? Well, because
정책적인 걸 할 때 우리 의견을 들어주라는
the
이야기죠.
co-signers of the letter is asking Ambassador Song Kim to do active role in in lifting the sanctions. Well, what I'm saying is that
아니요, 이제
we have not discussed anything that
완성이 됐어요.
anything what we have to
내용은 아까 제가 첫 번째
talk with Ambassador Song Kim.
해달라고요. 두
Well, the
번째는
letter is already written, and the two main messages of the letter is first, continue dialogue with North Korea, and second, lift the sanctions. But by the way,
네, 박준수 선생님 내용을
sorry,
올려주시면 제가 공유하도록
please
하겠습니다.
share the content later than I can share maybe. So yeah, I just want to have more people sign the letter.
강우재 박사님 강론에
공유하겠습니다.
잘 들었습니다.
Thank you for your lecture.
우리 큰 박수로 마무리하도록 하겠습니다.
Okay,
감사합니다.
thank you everyone.